Good morning, everyone. So glad to be with you today on our Activate Miracles podcast. Really excited because we have Michael Christl with us today, and he is the Director of Operations for Miracle Activation Center. And Michael, say hello to our guests. And
Hello.
yes, tell them a little bit about how you got here, what brought you to this point in your life. We're really excited to have you here today.
Sure. So it's been a long road, like most people could probably also agree with. And last year, kind of found myself in just a really kind of hairy situation. There just had a lot of life happening around me, and didn't really realize maybe the impact that a lot of the life I had already lived had on me as well. And perfect timing, which is something that I've learned a lot about, especially in the last year. The stars aligned and we connected about this project that you have been working on for years, and how I would be able to maybe contribute or play a part in that idea. And so as I was looking to do something that had more purpose, more meaning, more depth, more substance, all things that I really value. At 45, I'm placing my time and attention on those things. And so the alignment of what you're creating and the work involved just really spoke to me. And so I was like, let's explore this, how I would be able to help you out and make this center kind of come into, reality.
I want to speak for a moment. You and I were sitting in a coffee shop in New York City several years ago. You can probably help me remember better than I the exact number of years.
Yeah.
We were meeting to help you try to kind of identify where you were going on your journey, what might next steps be for you. And you had a pretty incredible experience that maybe will be part of this discussion today, maybe not. But maybe you can just share what you were considering, what you desired, and how did you get from that coffee shop in New York City to where you are today? Maybe just a little bit of insight into the journey for our listeners.
Sure. Yeah, that was a really powerful meeting. I remember telling you that it takes me a while to trust people. I'm very selective and don't just automatically place, a ton of faith in others, especially when I'm going to share or discuss something that's kind of a deeper, more personal topic. And so as we were sitting there, there was just something that this voice that had been on my shoulder for a long period of time that was telling me what would probably make me happy, or that I should do, that I should actually follow. And it had to do with farming and raising, grass-fed cattle for maybe beef and leather production. And it wasn't anything, as I was sitting in Manhattan and working and living in Manhattan, that for whatever reason, for the last couple of years, I couldn't seem to kind of turn that voice off. And so when I shared that with you, I just had a very, emotional kind of response, and did not understand why at all. And your response was, well, there's clearly something to that. If you're having that sort of response to something that you want to do, that's something that you should look at. There's something in you that's saying you should do this. And I just remember you saying across the table from me, which was so profound, you're like, you can do that. You can have that. And for me, that was just so powerful, because at that point in time, first of all, not really ever having shared a lot of dreams with a lot of people, but just to have someone else validate the ability to move forward and achieve or attain that which you feel this calling to do. And that was just, amazing. I was like, because in my head, I thought, I can? Like, Lorendi's telling me I can. So, okay, yeah, I guess I can.
Amazing. And it was
And then
just
from there, that was the transition to back to the Midwest, to Iowa, where I had lived prior to moving to New York. So I've lived in 3 of the 4 time zones. We'll see if I ever get to the 4th.
amazing. So, Michael, this morning I was working with one of our clients and I decided to pull a card from Esther and Jerry Hicks deck. And the card was, I will never cease being or desiring. And it says, you will never cease to be. New desires will be constantly born within you. Source will never stop answering your desires. And your expansion is therefore eternal. And so you may begin to relax if in this moment there is something you desire that has not yet come to fruition. And it sounds like in that moment, you had what we call in miracles terms a holy instant where the desire connected with potential and opportunity and someone holding space with you and walking with you for a moment to help you, so into that desire. It was really a kind of a pivotal moment for you.
Yeah, and it's cool for the card to say that you are a wellspring of ideas and passions, and because I I have so many, I've had so many throughout life and still continue to have so many different ideas that there will never be enough life to even entertain all of them.
Mhm.
So, but that's also something that's really nice to hear, because you oftentimes think that the shiny new object, or you get easily distracted because you are a person who has ideas, etc. And it also takes a lot of energy to, follow all of those.
Mhm.
You can't follow everything, but just to know that that's maybe just a part of, life and being, and that's okay.
Mhm. It's my children often all I have to do is wake up in the morning and I'll have ideas. And so they're often they adore me, so they don't come at this from a critical perspective, right? We've done enough work that we actually adore one another.
Yeah.
And but it's often, oh mom, please don't start another business, or please don't, that idea. So and sometimes I was kind of playing small a little bit and judging myself. And when I read that card this morning, and the Miracle Activation Center came to mind. This is actually something that's been an organic kind of spiritual growth for at least 8 years, because I was on the corner of Myrtle Avenue and Carlton Avenue in Brooklyn, New York, when I just got this download. It's the only way I know to describe it. And Miracle Activation Center came to mind. And for the first time in my life, I didn't go out and write a business plan immediately to figure out how we were going to all do it. Just, I knew it was something that needed a place,
Yeah.
and I could continue doing what I was doing and it would organically come and grow. And 7 to 8 years later, here we are. So for you, Michael, I hear you talk about the Miracle Activation Center. And as someone who has been walking with me, but really just came on board newly as the director of operations, I think you do such an eloquent job of describing what it is. So would you tell our listeners in your words, what is this Miracle Activation Center? What is it all about?
I am hoping that, and because this is an organic process, we kind of don't know in totality what it all will do. But my hope, at least from my perspective and where I'm coming from as someone who went through some difficult times, is that it's a place and space where you would be able to come and explore things that will help you get back to center, to find your alignment, to acknowledge and validate and have support for your passions and purpose, and receive some of that support, which could be any number of healing modalities, or therapies, or just asking the right questions. I think very often, if we have people around us who know what questions to ask us, we obviously have the answers ourselves. We just don't know how to arrive at the answers, or maybe they're buried so deep we haven't been able to fully form and speak what those are, but they're
Mhm.
there, they're just waiting to be discovered. And so I really think that, having a place and space where you can come and allow all of that to kind of come to the surface through the support of, again, different healing modalities, the environment, um, things that will help you reach those answers, is what the Miracle Activation Center is all about.
Thank you. That will help you discover, recover, reclaim, and rebuild your life. So this podcast, we're really excited about it, and we're glad that we're able to do it, because this will be an opportunity for our listeners to be able to hear how other people have activated miracles in their own life, because you are the creator of those miracles, and we believe that source is, we co-create with source, so it's not in and of ourselves, but the hero is you are the hero, the guru is you, it's within you. So we have just a few minutes left, and what we want to do on this podcast is each time we meet, speak about a principle and ask one of our guests, how has this principle showed up for you? So the first miracle principle that comes from A Course in Miracles is that there is no order of difficulty in miracles, that one is not harder or bigger than another. So just curious for you, Michael, how would you define a miracle? And have you had one of those moments in your life?
Yeah, I've had many. I think we often don't acknowledge them and what they are and how they came to be. But yeah, there's been plenty of miracles in my life, because in order for them to have occurred or happened, so many different things had to line up just organically
Mhm.
in order for them to be.
Mhm.
So something simple as, within 2 hours, I've got a trip to the East Coast planned that I just wasn't expecting, but put the intention out there to say, if this is meant to happen, please provide all of the resources that I need to be able to do this. And if it isn't, then don't. But I guess it was, because it did.
Mhm.
Then there are larger things too, like, different opportunities in life that seem to find you. And
Mhm.
that's the interesting thing, is that very often when you have some sort of thought or intention that is running in the background and you're not even necessarily aware of it, resources to help you get closer to that thought or intention are finding their way to you. I think the great thing that I've learned, and I'm still learning so much about, is that there is a way to be able to call in those resources on a much more intentional and of the minute sort of way, rather than just waiting for everything to kind of come to you as it does. You're able to maybe do some work and understand some techniques that will allow you to reach those um, miracles faster. And the saying that the card that you picked out that says that, no situation is more difficult than another, that's so comforting to me.
Mhm.
I find it very comforting, because there isn't anything that is too difficult for me to potentially dream, achieve, go after, chase, attain.
Mhm.
It allows me to continue that expansive thought process that I've always naturally had, to say, none of these crazy ideas that I have all the time are beyond my limits.
Mhm.
And so that really helps to put things into perspective as well, for what's possible.
Right. Michael, it's been so great having you with us today on our podcast, and we definitely will have you back on future episodes. So, if people want to get in touch with you, what would be the easiest way for them to do that?
Just go to miracleactivationcenter.com and you can reach us there. My email is michael@miracleactivationcenter.com. So yeah, please reach out. We'd love to see how we can support you in activating your miracles.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, everyone, listeners, for being with us today. Remember that you are the miracle activator. We'll see you next time.